A quick word about tonight's episode. Andrew's on the road and called in. The connection starts okay, but gets muffled about 15 minutes in and doesn't come back. So outside of his gameplay, Ray, Katherine, and I do most of the talking. Apologies in advance. It's a good episode, though, with our first impressions of Starfield, some wonderful feedback, and Katherine brought a sweet game. And, for the record, I did go to sleep about an hour after we finished. I was a little exhausted tonight from 3 days straight of Starfield. Anyway, enjoy the show.
You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosion sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waste. From deep within the core, gross atomic waste.
Hello and welcome to the 429th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a whole flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, we've got Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew, greets everybody.
And Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hello, hello.
And returning guest tonight, we have Katherine. Hi, Katherine. What's going on?
Hello.
Thanks for coming back. We are the show who compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quest with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everybody. Tonight on the show, we've got our gameplay off the top as usual. A little bit of Starfield chat, perhaps. Got some feedback tonight. We're going over Nuka World from Fallout 4, doing our survival playthrough for the roundtable. We've got some game time tonight in honor of Bob Barker. Oh, R.I.P. Bob. A little iguana bit for news, Starfield, and such. Some Meat Week stuff coming out, and some shouts on our way out the door. So welcome to the show, everybody. Let's go ahead and roll into it. Hey, Jess, did you get a chance to play any video games this week?
Remember, everybody, spay and neuter your death claws. Yeah, so I played games. It's funny. When I was first typing up the notes, when I was adding my bits, I just basically wrote Starfield everywhere because, you guys, happy Starfield Day. Okay.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I am so tired right now. Telling the guys earlier, like my face is exhausted. My body is tired. Less than 5 hours sleep, like 3 nights in a row. But I hear that Fallout Feed theme song, and I'm excited to talk some Fallout. We got to respect your time. We did add plenty of Fallout to the list tonight. So what did I play? Well, I actually played a lot of games.
Starfield.
Oh my God, for real. But no, before that, I tried to play some Fallout 4. Girls got to be prepared. And I know we have to talk about our gameplay. We got to finish the Gulch and Galactic Zone next week. Didn't really get to it. Just did some tidying, this and that. My character is now level 101. So I have cracked the triple digits, Andrew.
That's pretty darn impressive. That's amazing.
It is funny how much quicker our characters can level in survival. So that is awesome. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to handle after I conquer all the zones and go into the Commonwealth to follow up on the assigned faction with the operators and doing the raider missions. But we'll see when we get there. I'll wing it. And if I need to split a save somehow, I can't really in survival. You know what? Preston's just going to hate me. And I'll see if I can still finish the main quest line with the Minutemen after all, because they're my faction. They're doing great. Currently, they love me. I've got settlements. I probably got a good 80, 90 settlers now altogether. I've got only maybe 13, 14 settlements, but several of them are over 10. They're doing well, but not for long.
Shoot, you've got yourself a righteous army there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, when you got to walk everywhere in survival, it gives plenty of time for them recruitment meetings to be recruiting. So that's been a ton of fun. But yeah, not a whole lot of Fallout 4. So I had to play some Fallout 76. The season is back up and I had time to do that. So I got in and I'm only like level 19 or 20. So still not super fast, but I got some of that in there. And then Meat Week happened Tuesday. So
Yay.
Tuesday Meat Week loaded. We had the update and always everybody jumping in for Meat Week. See all kinds of friends like we do. So that was cool. But my big goal, because while I was waiting to play another game, I said I'm gonna go, and I just hopped servers finding Graham a couple hours. And right now, PSA for everybody: if you don't have all Graham's new plans and you didn't do the whole loading in on a private server thing to grab them, all the colored picnic tables or kitchen tables and the lights, the disco balls and such that you can get from him now, well, he's at Meat Week. So just load in to every server you can, load on your friends, use them to get onto a fresh server so he'll have different plans for you, and just keep hopping. And it's much easier than any other method. Yeah, it's the easiest.
You said disco balls plural. Does he have various mirrored balls now?
Balls galore, Andrew. He has like
I love
pink,
Graham's balls.
green, blue. He's all the colors. Yep. Same with the tables
Blue
and all that.
balls, Graham's blue balls. Gotta get them all.
Yep, got to grab
Get
those
'em
blue
all.
balls. So anyway, I think I've got them all now. I might still be missing one or two, but there were a lot of them. We've got all those, and the new plants you can win for Meat Week 2, the piggies. All the cute little piggies are amazing.
I got
Yeah.
some weird plushie I hadn't recognized before. I haven't built it yet to see what it is.
Yeah, those pig plushies are pretty great, but the pig mask, now that reward, have any of you guys seen this outfit in 76 right now?
No, but there's a disturbing picture on the load in before you actually like log in. There's like some weird disturbing pig picture. I didn't know if that was the mask or not.
Yeah, I think that might be the one if
Goodness.
it's on the loading screen. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the kind of pig that would be in a horror movie, like a Saw type
no.
pig, or like somebody
Like
like
a
he made
Saw
himself a
pig,
pig
yuck.
suit. It's disturbing.
That's all, folks.
So that was my 76 and my Fallout 4. Besides that, I actually had a really booked weekend last weekend. Played some Sea of Thieves with Shreds at the Gato Pub. It was a big charity weekend. Pause for a
How'd that
cause.
go?
It went really, really well. So I was only on Saturday night was the big night where we did several hours. And yeah, she hit her goal over 1,500 raised. I think it ended up being around 1,800 total, which amazing, especially in the climate right now.
Very
But, you know,
nice.
people going for those incentives because there were lots of incentives and giveaways. And also just wanted to help the animals. Specifically this time, it's going for dogs and cats in Maui. Because we always do pause for a cause, but this time it's because of what happened in Maui. There are lots of, obviously, pets that people always prioritize their pets as much as they can, of course. But there are certain situations where you're forced to evacuate and they can't. And so there's
Very
been
sad.
needed a lot of help. So that was great. And Sea of Thieves, really great to get back to. I only play every couple of months now, but I do love that game.
It's
And
a really odd game to use for a fundraiser because it seems like, oh, we're going to show up to this fundraiser and then a bunch of pirates are going to steal all of our money.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what we do.
it is an odd game that way because it keeps some people from playing it. I mean, one of the reasons why Sea of Thieves, it's certainly popular, but not as popular as it could be is because it's like 76 if they never gave us pacifist mode. It is always PvP all the time. And you could have a great couple hours playing and have fun, but more often than not, you're actually going to have a great couple hours playing, but be interrupted in the middle of whatever you're trying to do, which is
And then lose it all.
exactly.
Some other pirate comes along and pillages everything.
But luckily, they have things like Tall Tales and special content you can do. Right now, they're doing Monkey Island. For those of you who played the classic,
Monkey Island.
yeah, you know I love Monkey Island. Did you play the classics, Ray, Catherine, Andrew?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so
My
they were
brother was a huge fan. I didn't play them, but I watched him play. They were very fun.
awesome. Bringing that theme in to Sea of Thieves, really fun. But we did a separate Tall Tale. The neat thing about Tall Tales is that it takes you out of the PvP zone for the most part. So you're able to just have a goal and play the game, and that's really neat. And then finally, I did my weekly Redfall, and I tried something new this time. Nothing much to report there for gameplay, but I do have to say that turning up the difficulty to the hardest difficulties, we were playing in midnight mode this last time, much more difficult. It can be really fun. And Starfield, which came out, as we all know, on Thursday this week. I've been in it for a few days, and yeah, it's pretty great. But we'll save that for the Starfield chat section, right?
Sounds good.
Anyway, that is my gameplay, except for Starfield.
Well, good deal. We'll do some Starfield chat here in just a little minute. We'll check in with Ray. Hey, Ray, did you get a chance to play any video games this week?
I did.
What'd you get into?
None of it was Fallout, but I'm wearing a Fallout Feet t-shirt.
Well, there you go.
So spent a bunch of time in No Man's Sky, and then the new expedition started. And so I started playing the new expedition, which is a lot of fun. And it's a pretty chill one. It's a lot of exploration and scanning for different types of animals, plants, minerals, all that kind of stuff.
Getting your pioneer badges and
Yeah.
in Starfield, or not Starfield. Already doing it. No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Yeah.
Did they strategically release this expedition during the week that they knew this other space game was going to be released?
I don't think that really was the timing. The week before, they had released the update, which added a bunch of new content to the game. And so this was the following week. So it was about 6 days before they released this expedition. So I think it was just coincidental.
Well, I saw your ode, your post about how this is how you support a game. This company is displaying that there's this is, take a leaf out of their book, game companies.
Yeah. So this is a game that really caught a lot of heat when it first came out. And that's been 7 years ago now. And they stuck to it. They kept working on it. They had a vision and they've continued to push it. And now No Man's Sky is an incredibly huge game. You can spend hundreds of hours in only scratch, the surface of one particular track available in this game. And so there's so many options and so many things to do and so many different ways to play. It's really a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. It's easy to play. They've expanded it to the point now where people that just want to have fun and chill out and enjoy themselves can play one way. And then people that like to battle and, fight and a different kind of fun can do that too.
Have you been playing the whole time since it first dropped, day one?
Since it came out on PC.
What did it release for originally?
PlayStation.
Oh my God.
And
there's that Spider-Man game I like.
Then eventually it came out on PC. I picked it up. I think it hadn't been a long time after that PlayStation release. But I played it for a while and it was a lot of fun, but there just wasn't a lot to do, so kind of played, let it go, kept playing Fallout. And then there'd be an update. And so I'd go play the update. And so little by little, I would play more and more and more and more. And now at this point, I think I might have more hours in No Man's Sky than I...
Don't say it, Ray.
Definitely more than Skyrim.
Wow.
And possibly more than Fallout 4.
You haven't played 76 in a couple years now. So.
Yeah. Probably more than 76 too. Yep.
A lot more than 76. But when I wasn't playing No Man's Sky, I was watching The Expanse.
Ooh, you're burning through it? Almost done?
So I got through to the middle of season 5 at this point. The one thing that really connected, because it was so fresh in my mind, is the experience that James Holden has when he comes in contact with the protomolecule is almost exactly the same thing that you get when you start Starfield.
Really?
Almost exactly.
That classic vision light burst. I mean, no spoilers here, but everyone's seen it in all the previews and stuff.
Yeah.
Vision light burst, kind of I touched an alien artifact moment.
Yeah. And then you see this weird shape, somewhat form and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that was just dead on.
You get it in Mass Effect too. It's kind of classic.
Yeah. So it's such a fun show. They do such a good job with it. And at the heart of it, it's really just a drama, kind of the classic space opera type drama that's just disguised as a really fun science fiction show.
I definitely enjoyed The Expanse. I've recommended other people prepping for Starfield. I went back and I think I mentioned I started some Firefly. I pretty much finished all of Firefly over the weekend too. All these things anticipate for Starfield. It was hard to play or do anything else, even though I did. The anticipation has been all-time high for weeks now.
Yeah, that was one of my big regrets about not doing Dragon Con this year, is that Marina Baccarini is there.
Oh, wonderful. Gosh, I love Marina.
Yeah. I've seen her there before, but I've never got to meet her. So, you know, I'm not even checking the schedule for the ballrooms that I normally work to see if she was presenting in one of those rooms, because I just don't want to know.
Right. If you're not at Dragon Con this year, you don't want to know what you're missing. Yeah, I met her when she was doing publicity for V, when they did the V reboot.
Right.
A few years ago. She was out doing the convention circuit then.
Nice.
Fan?
No, in Firefly.
The Firefly. Okay.
So yeah, I finished the Firefly before I started The Expanse. So
Wow, making through all the spaceships.
It has been a space week. Anything else, Ray? Anything else you've been doing to prep for Starfield, or is that kind of the rest of your week?
well, I did a lot of cooking so that I would have a lot of leftovers, so I wouldn't have to do anything but microwave stuff while I'm playing Starfield.
Laying in provisions for your Starfield shelter. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's all I've been up to this week.
Fantastic. How about you, Katherine? What were you playing this week? And we know it wasn't Starfield. We know, but what were you playing?
Well, yes, it was not Starfield, but I spent the last, I have play sessions of probably 2 or 3 hours at night when I get home from work. So I spent the first 2 or 3 days of the week finishing all the Fallout 4 quests that we were assigned. And I can get into those now, or we can talk about them later, doesn't matter. But I basically went through, did Kitty Kingdom, the bottling plant, and then what's the other one? Safari Adventure.
Yeah. Tell us about those. Any highlights or anything that came up?
Okay. So Kitty Kingdom was a pain in the ass. Basically, it was more my fault. The prep was really bad. So I'm sitting up there, I'm atop of Fizz Top Grill, and I'm like, all right, let's go do Kitty Kingdom. Well, I forgot to unload all my stuff, so I walked all the way over there, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm over cucumbered. Let me go back. Then I forgot power armor, so then I walked all the way back to the Commonwealth to pick up my original set of power armor. And then I forgot to repair my power armor, so then I walked back from Kitty Kingdom to repair power armor. And then I forgot any extra fusion cores, so then I walked back again to give myself fusion cores. And then it's just a nightmare. And then I needed ammo because once again, I have no 10mm ever. So it was like 6 or 7 different trips before I could even get past the first round of ghouls. And then I immediately blew myself up right outside of the Ferris wheel. They have a frag mine.
Yeah,
hiding.
they do.
Yeah, I blew myself up multiple times on that. I just kept forgetting it was there. I didn't really have issues with the ghouls, but the 10mm, I now have maxed out my demolition expert, so I'm doing a lot of damage when it comes to that. And the ghouls, it's just as soon as you shoot them, their limbs just go flying, so it's a blast in there. I did have fun in the spinning room. I know we talked last week about kind of the ways to open the door and shoot the ghouls, but I just opened the door and threw 6 or 7 grenades in there, and that took care of that.
You gave them a taste of their own medicine after that frag mine.
Yes. The missile trap outside the doors that I know about, I let it kill me. Not proud of that, but it's fine. The ghouls weren't really terrible. I did find that this was the first experience since starting survival mode that I found that I had a ton of legendaries showing up. And I know survival is known for gives you more legendaries based on the difficulty, but I never noticed it until I got to Kitty Kingdom. And it was every round of ghouls, at least 2 of them were legendary. So,
wow. I would say it's been as much as 1 in 5 for me. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it has been a lot. But of course it was all shitty items that I didn't really want.
It always is at this point. Once you get to this level, at first, they're so helpful. Any legendary is a good legendary. But once you've got your ideal equipment, who needs all the excess?
And direction, too. When you when you're first picking stuff up, but you don't necessarily have a direction. You're just using whatever you got, however you can get it, But
Yeah.
as you start to build the character out, you've got your 10 millimeter explosive pistol. You're not going to pick up a shish kebab with extra flaming damage. I don't think I've ever left so many legendaries laying on the ground as I have this playthrough.
Well, okay, here's my problem with that. And I have the same problem in 76 too. Is just that like no matter what I do, I compulsively cannot drop a legendary. It's something about it. Like in 76, I'm like, that's script. Like I can't let that go.
Enjoy that Nocturnal Raider torso. My God, the legendary power armor is so heavy.
Yes, but in Fallout 4, I'm like still needing caps. Like I can't buy anything that I want. So of course I'm like holding on to stuff to sell it for 122 gold at the next merchant. Like so I'm constantly getting over encumbered, and it's not because like this time I'm not picking up junk. This time I'm just picking up all of these legendary items that I don't even use.
So it's almost bad that they give you extra. Yeah, but Key to Kingdom, I mean, it really softens you up. The rads get you all tenderized, and then the ghouls make a meal of you. It was rough for all of us. So I'm sorry you had the same experience, but I'm not surprised.
That's okay. I did pause. I got all the way to the point where I was at the theater, and I what is his name? The ghoul.
Oswald?
Oswald, thank you. I paused right there after I kind of killed him in the theater, but like he doesn't die. He shows up at the roof. I really wanted to get Rachel's holotape because I did it the first time, and he's such a good person, and he means well. So I just couldn't see myself taking him out. So I went and I got Rachel's holotape, and then I came back and I gave it to him so that he would just leave instead of dying. And then I gave the park to the operators because I felt like they would feel at home in a kingdom.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm sure they'll love it.
Yes.
How about the bottling plant? So I found Kitty Kingdom to maybe be the toughest. Was that true for you or no?
I think out of the three, I would say the bottling plant was the toughest, and then Kitty Kingdom, and then Safari Adventure. So Kitty Kingdom, I was using the yellow power armor paint, which has the rad resist on it, but then I got kind of smart this time, and I switched the paint to the patriotic paint for the bottling plant because I knew that would give me more powerful explosions.
Oh, smart. Preparing ahead. Guys, we could all learn something.
I did tons of preparing, and none of it was helpful because the Nuka lurks suck. My 10 millimeter, even with that, like I'm targeting their faces, it did nothing. And the hunters were super squishy. They went down really easy, like 1 or 2 shots. But those Nuka lurks, it was like I was putting at least 20 to 30 bullets into those things before they would go down for me. It was terrible.
And they are bullet spongy. I mentioned, I feel like people who weren't like VATS builds, like I was, where I could get the face really easily, they were quite tough. Because the few times that I did hit the shell or the body, man, it was almost nothing.
Yeah, it just felt like I was still bouncing off the shell. I did about halfway through, I finally was like, I'm tired of this. And I just started throwing grenades, and that I was kind of aiming them where they were hiding before they would kind of pop up. And that worked really well. Like a couple grenades could take down a Nuka lurk. And then the Assaultrons, they all bombard you at the end of the little...
They do.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's like 6 or 7 of them. They just all come out of the same door. I guess
it's like a freaking clown car. It's like they just keep coming. It was amazing.
It was terrible, but they were super squishy. Like I have problems with Assaultrons, especially in 76. But I'm always afraid of those. Like out of all of the robots, I'm always like, yeah, Assaultrons are the worst in my opinion, but these ones went down super easy with that explosive damage. I don't know if that's one of their weaknesses or...
Yeah, if they don't get a head cannon off, the Dominators, as we found, like in Far Harbor and stuff, those were wicked rough. These ones, I feel like they were mostly normal, so they weren't that bad for me too. There were just so many of them swarming.
Yeah, so outside was worse because it has all the kings outside, and I died probably like 20 different times doing different things. Because they like to swarm, like you come out of that door and you're you're in this little like corner tunnel where you can either go up or you can go down. And I tried to take the one out, and then two come around the corner behind me and take me out. So I was trying to just like VATS the queen from the roof, and I was able to stay on the roof and take her down. I threw a couple grenades at her, and then I VATSed her until she was dead. But then I got swarmed by like 4 Mirelurk Kings up there. But then after like dying twice, I finally was like, oh my God, I'm in power armor. I can just jump off the roof. I don't take fall damage. So I jumped off the back of the roof, which didn't put me outside of the bottling plant, but it put me enough that I could kind of hide myself again.
Oh,
And
sweet.
yeah, I came back down from the bottom, and then I kind of took my power armor off and went stealthy, and then kind of took them out from the bottom because then they were all up on the roof. And that's how I got through that. But yeah, if I hadn't remembered that power armor takes no fall damage, I would have been there for a long time.
Oh boy. Wow. Okay, that's an adventure. That's an adventure. And I feel like everybody kind of playing is having a similar experience. I just got lucky there. But I'm glad you made it. And that's a lot of Mirelurk Kings. I think I only had 2, maybe 3. So to get a huge swarm like that, ouch.
Yeah, it was really bad. I did give that part to the disciples, and I am doing the Commonwealth. I've never played the open season quest before, but I also really like the idea of kind of giving the parks to the crews and everything. So I'm gonna keep going with that. I just like, when does that quest cut off? Can I play that until the power plant and
so
then
you are ultimately doing open season?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. So I suppose I don't know if you've had an experience with this, Ray, like what you think, but from my understanding, pretty much at any point you can turn on the Raiders. Like you could even probably start power play and start taking over the Commonwealth, and then decide no, bad idea, and turn on them. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can, up until the point where you've probably turned the power back on, given the whole park to one crew, and wiped out the Commonwealth.
Yeah, there you go. Also, I mean, if you've never done power play and done stuff for the Raider side, and you have wiped them out before, there's nothing saying you can't. We're in the last couple of weeks of the roundtable. You can cheat a little bit. A lot of us are playing Starfield. We won't even notice.
But I don't know what I'm going to do yet. For now, I'm kind of just giving the Raiders the parks until I decide that I want the parks back. So I gave the disciples the bottling plant because I want to kind of spread things evenly.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about, also quick note, Solior in chat says Galactic Zone is as bad or worse than the bottling plant. So that's something to look forward to, everybody. Something to look forward to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep an eye out for those troubleshooter legendaries.
Oh my goodness, yes. So how about Safari Zone?
Safari Adventure it's not one of my favorite of the parks, I think. It's down there with Dry Rock Gulch. Those are my 2 least favorite parks. And I'm not sure what does it for me, but I always feel like Safari Adventure they could have done more with. I felt like the story was just a little bit lacking. It goes by super fast both times I've done it. But the Gator Claws this time, I was expecting them to be like a lot harder than they were, and they were super easy to take down. It might just be I use a VATS build, so I was targeting the belly, and it was almost always like greater than 80% chance to hit with them. And I did use a mix of like the 10mm explosive and the 44 revolver, but they went down in like 1 or 2 shots every time.
Wow. Yeah, I was saying 2 or 3 for me. Like they weren't that bad. So that's even better for you. Awesome. Probably the explosive effect that you have.
Yeah, it probably was. And then I found a 44. I was just saying I only get shitty legendaries, but I did find a 44, and I don't know what the legendary effect is on it, but it did have the advanced receiver or something, but it made it better than Kellogg's pistol. And I haven't taken any perks in Gun Nut, so anything that I can get my hands on, I'm happy to have. But it's doing about 185 a shot.
That's good.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, Kellogg's pistol was doing 130 something.
And did it have a legendary effect too, you were saying?
It did, but I can't remember what it was. But it was enough for me to want to keep it. So I don't know.
I get that. I think I found a 44 that I liked as much as Kellogg's the other day too. So I think we're at that point level wise. I have all the levels of Gun Nut though, so I can put on all the best mods.
Lucky, lucky. I did get Cito to stay in the parks. That was kind of big for me, especially because eventually I wanted to kind of give the parks back to the Commonwealth, give them back to the traders or the people with the collars on.
Yeah, I think they're just generally referred to as traders. I mean, we could also call them slaves, but yeah, I think that they don't have a faction name. They were the traders that were there before it was taken over.
But I just wanted Cito to kind of stay there. It just made sense, he's a good guy and I like the gorillas too. So I
Me
made
too.
sure that I popped like Mentats, and then I have Wasteland Imports. So I have those little magazines they give you where for like 5 minutes it increases your speech and things like that. I used one of those and made sure that I could get him to stay in the park. And then I gave that park to the pack.
Awesome. So you made it through all of them. That was your least favorite. About what level is your character at this point?
I just hit level 43.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you really are tackling it not too high of a level, especially after all of the. Oh, right, because of the restart. Okay.
Yes.
Quick question on that. Do you think you spent more time going back and forth to prepare for the parks or actually taking the parks?
Kitty Kingdom was definitely more spent time traveling. The other two, I think I learned my lesson, and I would always stop at Fizztop Mountain and dump everything I had, repair my power armor, change the paint to adjust to what I was about to face, and then I would go after that. But that first time, I don't think I was in the right state of mind to like accomplish Kitty Kingdom.
At least Kitty
Fair.
Kingdom was close.
Close-ish, but still, that walk around Nuka Town, USA is really annoying.
Yeah, it's larger than it needs to be. I will say,
Yes.
going back there, I feel like this is larger than it needs to be. Like all these disciples just milling about this large pond. Like, who put a freaking pond there anyway? Why is it there? Like, it's just so big. And like, once you've seen like one head on a pike, you've seen them all. Like, enough's enough, right? We don't need so many bodies just strung up everywhere.
I think it would be a great part too for like a behemoth to sit in, like right next to, how Swan is in that little
Mhm.
pond. Like it'd be a great place to stick a behemoth.
It's not very deep. He'd kind of stick out.
That's
It's a little
true.
splashful, baby behemoth.
Yeah.
So,
And if you think about it, so it was a theme park. It was meant for thousands of people to be milling around. If it was any smaller, it would have been too crowded in the day. So it's just natural.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that was your Fallout 4 play. Any other four, or do you want to jump over to 76? Did you get any of that in?
That was pretty much it for 4. I did hop into 76. I've been seeing some of the ASA podcasting crew around. I saw Jess last week when we were taking down a queen.
Oh yeah.
And the other day I saw Green Dragon and Solior. I saw you guys. Y'all visited my camp. That was really sweet.
Mhm.
And then I did my first meet week because I've only been playing for about less than a year. So this was my first chance to get into meet week. Of course, I had been listening to all of the meet week episodes, so I kind of knew what to expect, but also still I was like, what is happening right now?
Graham is iconic. Yeah, that's funny. I was thinking you started a year ago, like last summer, like the summer before this one, but you must have either started just after Meet Week or you were playing, but not enough to actually go to Meet Week at that point.
I think I was still too low of a level to like understand what events were or public events and go to them. I like for the first 50 levels or so, I don't think I even went to a public event. I had no idea what was happening.
Makes sense.
But I did some meet week. I think I've done 2 or 3 now, and the only plan I've gotten so far is the decoy duck, but it's a plan I didn't know. I've been doing some shopping too. I've been kind of hopping servers and looking at what people have gotten their vendors lately. I haven't been doing that a lot. So just hopping in, see if anybody has any plans that I didn't learn yet. And then I also brought myself out of the self-proclaimed scoretirement that I told myself I was getting back into. I did not finish the last scoreboard because they decided they were just going to shut it down on me. But this one, I think I'm 37 or 38 now. So trying to do my dailies, did my weeklies using my score boosters. But that's kind of giving me something to do while everyone else is playing that space game that they're all excited about.
Yeah, I'm
No
so
Man's Sky.
excited. Yeah,
Yes.
that one. But you do see people talking on Twitter and elsewhere about what does this mean for 76, everybody jumping to Starfield. And we've gone over it a bit. I mean, obviously, 76 is a multiplayer. Starfield isn't. Yes, we can put hundreds of hours into it, but some people might not. And lots of people will still crave that friendship and companionship and all that you kind of only get in a multiplayer game. We can talk about it like we are here on all our various socials about the games you're playing, but being with someone, playing with them, stopping by their camp is something special you don't get elsewhere. So I'm glad you're able to distract yourself. And I'm sorry you came out of retirement, though. I know you were enjoying it.
It was pretty fun. I had a nice Skyrim playthrough going on where I was just trying to do like a full playthrough, complete DLCs and everything, but that's kind of on hold right now because 76 has drawn me back into.
Sucked you back in.
Yeah.
That's what it does. That's been the pattern for a lot of us. I mean, even Ray, not the last year and a half really, but even Ray at first would, I feel like the breaks get longer and longer for people. Really, I'll come back for the events. And that's how it starts. I'm actually at the point right now, especially with Starfield coming out, but also playing Fallout 4 and everything where I've been season only and that's about it now that I'm not streaming. Well, I still jump in for fun a little bit, but there are other things to do. That's how it happens. And we'll get something big soon. We still don't know if there's anything special happening in 76 come the end of this year. We do know that we have the next expedition coming out, probably be early next year, most likely going to Atlantic City, which super excited about that. But I still think that there will be another update this year, even though it's not on the community calendar, specific update or next season. Probably there's almost always a big update after Thanksgiving, very beginning of December. And that's when Bethesda does whatever the next big update is, and they tuck it in, and then they take a few weeks off for the holidays. So hopefully that happens again, and it's just off the calendar. We'll see.
I'm also very hopeful that this time around they can kind of capture what we're looking for in an expedition a little bit better than they did with the pit. I mean, the pit was great, but it felt a little incomplete or a little superficial, in other words. Like, I'm hoping they give us a little bit more of an expanse to explore or something like that. And I'm very hopeful with the way that Double 11 has been helping out with Nuka World on tour and things like that. It's been really great so far. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that if there is an update come December, that'll be something big they're working on again because they're doing a lot of the content for the seasons and such. But Expeditions, the core team is still BGS Austin. So what are they working on besides events since Nuka World on tour? Well, probably the next update. We'll see. Yeah, I'm psyched. You're absolutely right about that. I do think the next one will have a larger explorable area or at least more interaction there. We know there are NPCs and stuff from what we've seen.
Probably another currency, that's a trend.
Don't say that when I'm taking a drink. Oh my goodness. Fantastic. Any other gameplay or fun activity you want to talk about?
No, I think that does it for me.
Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Andrew, we're going to see if we can hear you.
All right. Audio test. Do I still sound muffled and terrible?
You sound very muffled, but audible. Let's give it a try.
All right. We can give it a try for a few minutes, and then you can cut me off if it doesn't improve or anything. I'm at the mercy of LTE over at my in-laws' house.
As you're on the road again.
On the road again. I got lots of survival shelter in earlier in the week. I got above 60 dwellers. I got the overseer's desk installed. So that finally meant I get to send some people out into the field. They're coming back with a lot better weapons than I had. I was topping out at about 5 or 6 damage with most of my weapons being hunting rifles and that sort of thing. But on the first couple of missions, my guys brought back some Gauss rifles and railway rifles and that sort of stuff. So my packing a punch went up considerably just in the first couple of quests.
Oh, nice.
Got a Mr. Handy, I think, on the 5th or 6th quest. But as I got up to like 66 dwellers, and I had the guys that come back from a quest had the nice weapons in the vault, a Deathclaw attack happened, and I was, because usually when the Deathclaw switch to another room, I will pull the good weapons off of whoever's got the best weapons and put them on the people in the room that they're headed towards.
Right.
But I guess I didn't quite figure out how the mechanics of all this work with the added spin and survival mode of your dwellers dying. So I thought that, oh, if you just like open up the menu, you'll see their weapon and you can trade it. But you actually have to go and dismiss a dead person, like say, get rid of their corpse before it'll put their inventory back in your storage. And
Mhm.
so, as I was trying to move their weapons to the other new people, they were laying dead, and I was like, I don't see the weapons. Where? So I kept like looking and switching stuff, and as I'm like trying to figure out how to get the weapons off of them, the death claws are just moving from room to room to room, killing absolutely everyone. I went from 66 down to 41 dwellers. They killed like 15 people.
Oh
I'm
my.
like, oh my god, like no, 25 people. Good lord, it was terrible.
So
And
you've been completely decimated then.
you don't have to make as much food and water because there's fewer people, but you also have fewer people to work in the room. So it kind of proportionally works, except for the electricity, because you still have all of those rooms built. You don't have enough people to fill the rooms, but you still need to power them if you want people to continue their training and all that sort of stuff. So the food and water ratio goes down when your population goes down, which is a good thing. But the power doesn't go down because you still need your rooms operational in order to collect stuff. So it was just a real problem. So I started trying to figure out how to get more people in. I had 7 people standing outside, so I brought all of them in and slowly built back up. I'm back up over 60 now, and it took like 4 or 5 days of dedicated breeding and getting all the population back up. But so I finally figured out that, oh, you have to dismiss the dead bodies and then their inventory returns to your storage and then you can access it. And so it was just one bad Deathclaw attack really decimated the population and caused me problems for days and days. But I finally figured I've got it going again. I've sent the guys back out on more quests, and they brought back some good treasure. I even got a Mr. Handy now, so like that sort of help automate one of the floors. So I can collect if I'm running low on water, I'll just put him on the water floor and he'll just collect all the water and all that. So
I think a Mr. Handy could make a real difference in survival, even more than regular. That makes sense. But I'm glad to hear you're coming back, because when you first told us you went from, what did you say, 60 dwellers down to like 41?
Yeah, lost over 20 dwellers. It was terrible.
Amazing.
I thought about quitting, honestly.
Well, of course you did, because I mean, you've been working so hard to maintain the survival vault and pulling up all the stops. I mean, like, yeah.
And I got a little alien pet, which was really cool. He gives +6 damage. Like, ooh, that's significant. So it's good having some weird little pets, and he makes lots of cute little R2D2 sounds when he's killing things. So it's very nice. But other than that, let's see, 76. I've been doing the dailies. I think I'm in the mid 30s somewhere level wise. Did my weeklies today before I took the drive, so got all my weeklies caught up.
Good job.
And then let's see, I didn't really play any 4 this week, I don't think. And other than that, it was all Starfield. So yeah, we can get into some Starfield chat whenever you want to get to that.
Well, I think that is a perfect segue because, yeah, lots of Starfield chat. Now, obviously, Katherine isn't playing yet, and we've got a couple weeks before we touch anything even resembling a spoiler at all, if we do on the show. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're going to try to resist and stay away from that. But we can talk about some things about the mechanics of the game if people like, or I don't know if anyone has any questions. Like, maybe just quick feeling. Like, Ray, I think even though I might have started playing before you, I think from what I've seen your character and your current ability to play as much as you want, you might have actually gotten past me. But how are you finding Starfield so far?
It's pretty overwhelming. While there's so much that's familiar with the key bindings and all that kind of stuff, it's very much, Bethesda key bindings. There's just so much to soak up and figure out on how everything works. So I'm at about 16 and a half hours now.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So definitely been putting in the time.
Said 16 hours, and that's just in, for people who don't know what time it is just almost midnight here on Friday night. So that is, if it was available 8 o'clock yesterday, out of the past 28 hours, you have played 16 of them.
Yeah. Well, and I had to stop to get ready for the show and all that kind of stuff. So,
Right, of course.
but it's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. It, I still haven't figured out. So, anytime I play a Bethesda game, I always play stealth because
Right.
they always give you huge bonuses to stealth. At this point, I'm not sure that that's the case in this game.
Not until you level it up. I mean, the fact that you don't even have a stealth indicator, like you do get stealth kills, and especially with headshots, but it's harder to get a headshot depending on the weapon you're using and how your skills are. But once you start putting points in stealth, like for people don't know, there are backgrounds and traits. Backgrounds just basically give you a starting set of 3 skills, much like the classes in Oblivion. You know how you can pick Nightblade or all that fun stuff in Oblivion, and it gives you 3 skills. However, no matter what you choose, you can still put points into them to level them up separately. So all that does is give you a boost in them. But what background did you do? Did you do something with stealth, Ray? Or
Yeah, I did Ronin. So I started off with stealth. So I did have a stealth meter to start with, but you really can't tell. There's no indicator. Yeah, I killed like 30 or 40 different people, and only 6 of them counted as stealth kills, but they were all done from sneak. So
yep. So you don't know if you were detected or not. Have you put points in stealth yet that you have an indicator on your screen at least? No? Yes?
yeah.
You
So
have the indicator. Okay.
when you get the first level, you get the indicator. I've gotten to the second level because I did finally amass the 10 stealth kills I needed to get to the next level.
It sounds like you found the elusive status screen, though. That's something I was going to ask people about. That status screen on the menu hides. You don't even see it until at first.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
Yeah. So I've got 2 kind of frustrating things. I try to be really patient because I can't really tell if it's just something that's missing from the game or I just don't know how to do it. Or in the case of Starfield, a lot of stuff you can't do until you've taken a perk in it.
Right. Yeah, you would
Like
think
you
that
can
it's some
have
basic stuff.
have a boost pack and run around all day long, and if you don't have points in boost, you got no boost in your
This
pack.
is something I've seen people question a good bit in reviews too. The fact that a number of fun skills and mechanics are locked behind taking that perk, which in a way makes it almost the most customizable, and characters playing the same quest with drastically different attributes and traits and skills. It's very Fallout Feed Roundtable-ish. I appreciate that. A lot of fun mechanics you can't even do to put points in them. So if you have a character that never takes boost pack, you'll never boost pack, which is like a jetpack, by the way, Katherine.
So I don't know if I haven't found the local map perk, but when you're going through a building, I can't find a map that shows me where I've been. I'm all for the fog of war. I don't need you to show me where I haven't been yet, but it'd be nice because these places are huge and sprawling, and I've gotten lost so many times.
Local maps for large dungeons and for cities would be very nice. Things that are
Just
things
trying
that
to
are
find
lacking.
that shop I went to the other day in what is it, New Atlantis or whatever.
Mhm.
I'd like to go back there and buy that gun I saw.
The mercantile, you want the ace pistol?
I'm like, where in the world is this place?
It's just inside the spaceport up on the left, but I hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay, it's a shop, so
difficult.
it must be in the retail marketplace.
Oh, but it's not. I think it's in the spaceport. I think that still is technically, but I'm not sure because there are multiple shops, there are multiple
Yeah.
stores. So
But the only one true issue that I have, and I don't know if it's the same for Xbox, but when you exit a door, there is a lag that if you press the walk key too soon after passing through the door, which I'm usually already riding the W key, anything that takes you through a
a loading
screen.
zone. Okay.
When you get to the other side, you need to count to 3 before you start walking. Because if you press the walk button, you don't walk and you won't walk until you let go of the walk button and push it again.
Oh, that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, we don't have that on Xbox. That is not something I've seen. And it might even be that your system is so damn fast, Ray, I'm not sure about this, but this is not a complaint I've heard in any of the reviews and technical stuff.
Yeah,
Your
well,
system might be trying to load faster than it can actually possibly load.
yeah, it's something I'm getting used to. I know if I'm not walking and I've got the W key down, I just need to pick up my finger and drop it again.
Mhm.
But that's really the only issue I've had with the game. Everything else has just been an absolute blast.
It really has been. So overall, you're enjoying it. One theme that I've heard from a lot of people and that I will agree with is that it is very much a Bethesda game. Okay. And also, just for the record, before I go on too long, I am really enjoying it. I'm loving it even. Not only is it starting out good, but I think it has the potential to be the greatest Bethesda game yet. It is a Bethesda ass Bethesda game. It's giving us so many things we love from the other games. I mean, there are differences, of course. There's less of the snarky, sarcastic humor, over the top violence from Fallout. You don't have the same retrofuturism. Oh, there's hints of it, but there are some wacky quests. It's less serious than Skyrim by a little bit, and the Elder Scrolls series in general, but it is more serious than Fallout for sure. Aside from some wacky side quests people might come into, mechanically it runs like a dream, but there are things in the way. Photo mode is awesome, but not as good as 76. They changed some things I don't like, but will hopefully be expanded upon. The inventory is a little bit difficult to deal with. It has some niceties, but it's got issues too. The map, like you talked about, is a little bit tough, but otherwise, I have very few complaints. It's gorgeous. The story is good. I'm about 24 hours in, I think. So you haven't quit climbing yet, Ray, but but you
Soon,
might. And of course, I play
before the weekend's out.
really slow. So for those who are taking bets about character creation and all the jokes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I was in there for 3 hours. Yes, I was. Now I made two characters. I got through real quick just to make sure everything was working and get in the game and I could save in case I lost my character. Like when you're playing, especially before it's officially out, you're like, oh, what if there's a glitch? Things happen. We know they do. And if you're not actually having a save while you're a character creator, like wasting all that time. So I did something real quick. I saved. Then I went back, replayed the intro, and did it for real. But I love it. My girl's name is Gemma. She's got a fun background. Andrew, so I want to hear from you too. And by the way, we're not going to belabor Starfield too much tonight. There'll be plenty more time to talk about it, especially when Andrew's coming through a little clearer too, and we can all kind of chime in. But what are you thinking so far, Andrew?
Where's my VAT?
Yeah, where the heck is your VATS?
I thought that might be something that came up for you because I've been having to do a lot of mouse shooting. Mostly what I've been doing in the game is just shooting things.
I can't find my Pit Boy either.
Right. How
That-
useless is that freaking watch?
Oh, it's got stuff on it. But yeah, I've remapped my keys, of course, because by default is B sneak. The usual Pip-Boy key is like sneak, right? Or
Yeah, that usually brings up your Pit Boy and it makes you crouch in this one.
yeah, so I remapped something. So I put sneak on the thumbstick where it belongs, of course. By the way, the controls list on this. So you know how usually there's like a control scheme, maybe two in a BGS game. There are like 6 separate control schemes you get on the list. Like one for outpost building, one for hey mom, I'm in space, one for like walking around just doing stuff. I mean, it's redonkulous how many control schemes there are. So you can remap stuff. I made B my melee, but I'm thinking I might even put the start button that pulls up the menu. I might even put that on B just so it's where it belongs for Pip Boys.
Yeah. And that's what I need to go and remap everything. 'Cause it's really throwing me off when I'm like wanting to access my inventory and I'm hitting B.
Yeah.
Um,
And so do you guys have to hold down keys a lot to long press stuff to get?
Only exits. So there is this thing where if you're in the galactic map, you just press B for a second and it gets you right out, which is nice. That's the only one I can think of. Maybe also in terminals or computers, a long press of B. So yeah, but there aren't a ton of them, just those.
Okay. Yeah. So No Man's Sky uses a lot of long press stuff. So it's certainly something that I'm used to. And all the different games I've been playing leading up to this has definitely helped because it's exercised my mind to where I'm not fixated on just Bethesda keystrokes.
Right.
And so this has been a pretty easy transition.
And we have long press for sitting and activating objects in 76 as well. You know, there are a few items where you long press.
Yeah, I knew Andrew would miss his bats.
oh, yeah. I was kind of actually looking around for it, being like, there's no way they would make a gun shooting game without an auto lock system, but it looks like they did.
Yeah,
But one thing I do like a lot is that You press your joystick forward a little bit to walk, medium to jog, and press it all the way up to sprint. There's no sprint button like there is in Fallout, but I do like how they did that with the joystick. It's a light touch for a walk, medium touch for jog, and full out for sprint. So I like that.
There is a sprint. You can click for sprint, just like in Fallout.
I
You
like that there's different walk speeds just with the.
It definitely is a lot of variability in there. I like that. The controls with the gunplay, it feels good. Some weapons feel a lot better than others. I know you often like melee, Andrew. Are you finding melee any better, or are you not really doing melee yet?
Well, I don't have any good weapons yet. I've only played like 3 hours, so I'm very
Right.
light in it. But I've got like a rescue axe or something that I found. I killed a few guys sneaking up to them, and they haven't seen me, and I killed them with the axe with one swipe. So I don't know if that was a stealth enhanced attack. And I'm also playing on because I challenge myself when I'm figuring a game out. So I've got it on pretty easy. Maybe the second hardest level. I don't like playing on like super difficult just to start out.
No, not in a game like this.
Maybe since I have it on such an easy mode is also why they're dying quickly. Maybe it's not stealth or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and if you haven't spec'd into stealth, it really doesn't matter because you're not getting credit for it anyway.
Yeah, I did the Ronin thing like you did, Ray.
Oh, okay. Then you'll get to a point where you level up.
I saw it had melee and sneak, and I had the same thought process you did. Like, ooh, sneak is how you get better attacks, and I'll be much more effective with my attacking if I'm in sneak mode.
Yep.
But we'll see.
So the menu is interesting. It reminds me more of the Skyrim's menu system. And then on that screen, there's a button you can press to pull up status. On Xbox, Andrew, that's Y. So just when the menu is open, you press Y to open up status. And what status does tells you a little bit about your character, shows your basic stats. But this is also where you get your classic menu where it says number of quests completed, number of missions, your social, your combat stats, your days passed, how much you've slept, that sort of thing. And of course, stealth kills is one of the things listed there. So you can kind of see how many of those you've had, if any of them have counted.
Yeah. Well, it also shows in the perks menu.
In the right, and for the skills. Yeah,
skills.
Because for a lot of skills, one of the great things about the skill system here, it's like a mix of Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout. Because in Oblivion and Skyrim, you had to use things to level them up. Right? You kept leveling up certain things, especially Oblivion. And so for here, you can assign the point wherever you want, like you would in Fallout or on the little astral chart with Skyrim. But in order to have one open up to put points in it, you have to have a thing done. So like for stealth, you probably have to have what? Like 75 stealth kills to get to level 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, it's 10 or 20 to get to I think it might be 10 to get to the second level, 20 to get to the third.
Cool.
And so on.
Can you tell I haven't put any points in stealth yet? I only saw the first one up to 10. Oh, there's one item I did where I have to get 75. I think maybe it's just ballistics, like simply ballistic kills, maybe 75 for second level. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another one that I'm spec'd into now.
Ballistics is a good skill because it does affect all ballistic weapons as you would expect. And you may say, wait, but they're separate for pistol, separate for shotgun. Yeah, those are in addition to. So you've got category with energy and a category with the ballistic. And then, of course, the specific ones for certain weapons. So just be aware that those can double up. You can double dip on them. Well, unless people have anything specific they want to talk about Starfield, we can kind of save more of it for later. I will mention I did a quick tips thread on Facebook and on Twitter. And so if you are someone about to get into Starfield, think about getting into Starfield, I'm just going to give you a couple quick tips. First of all, character creator. We're talking about making our character and how long it takes or we take. Now, what I didn't know when I was doing that is that you can redo your character later. So if your character's not perfect, you don't love how they come out in the character creator, or you're like, oh God, I've been here for 2 hours, I gotta get out. You can, in most major cities, go to like a surgical center, kind of like the classic like mega surgery in Diamond City, that sort of deal. Different, of course, but that idea. Multiple locations. So you can change your look. Also, we talked about backgrounds and traits a little bit. And we'll talk about what we chose in the future as we kind of flesh them out a bit. But backgrounds basically just give you starting skills and a little bit of story, but not a whole lot beyond that. Traits, however, totally optional. You can take no traits. You can take up to 3 traits. And those do have effects that will last the whole game. Some of them might not be that big, Obviously, a Doring fan can be, as we know, but that is there. Did either of you take a Doring fan, by the way, just out of curiosity?
I
No.
really thought about it, but I did not.
Okay, who wants to lock themselves into that for their first main playthrough, right? I mean, some people have, and you can probably take that Adoring fan and give an assignment far, far away from you. But I'm still not sure yet how that's going to all play out.
I saw that he gives you gifts, and I was like, ooh, I want presents. That sounds great.
Yeah, gifts are nice, very nice, but there might be strings attached, like a lock of your hair or something. You never know what the fan's going to want.
Oh no, that's creepy.
Another quick tip, there is a cargo hold in the ship. So this is something I feel like Bethesda learned from the stash box. Like they started with workbenches in 4 a bit and then stash boxes in 76. It's like a universal storage you can access from multiple places. So it's a cargo hold. It's in your ship. And in order to actually access it, you go into the ship by the cockpit. You should have a cargo available in every ship. And what's great is anything you store in there, it's upgradable as you upgrade your ship. So you can put more stuff in it. But at a vendor, you can sell from your ship. You can sell right from that stash. And when you're crafting, you can craft right from that stash. So it's like a universally available thing. So when you get yourself cucumbered, and I actually feel like you have more carry weight in this game than some of the others, but when you get cucumbered, just get back to your ship. One thing you can fast travel to wherever you are, get back to your ship and unload. Last
I
tip.
don't know that you really have much more carry weight. You just things are lighter.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the numbers aren't any higher, but
Yeah,
things
because I
tend to
think
be
I've got
lighter.
like 140.
Yeah, I
If you
started
get-
at 135.
If you go to a planet that has higher gravity, do things weigh more?
No, it affects movement and stuff like that. Gravity does affect a number of things in game, but I don't think it affects the weight of items. Not that I've seen.
It should.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of tutorial stuff is in the activities menu. So you have to go activate those when you want to learn about something.
Yeah, you get a quick pop up that disappears on you, and for a lot of things. And if you want to look at them longer or get details, you have to go to the menu, right?
Because that is the cargo is one of the activities.
Oh, you learned that there. Excellent.
Oh, and don't try to fly directly to the next planet. That doesn't work.
I didn't put that on my tip list originally, but everybody has done it. It's like such a duh moment. There were a couple big questions we had at a time. One of mine, which was part of a big controversy last week, was okay, so I explore an area on a planet. Can I just load in the next area? Do I have to go back to my ship and touch down? In terms of full transparency, about 2-3 months ago, I said that would be silly if that's what you had to do. Well, guess what? It is what
It's
you have to
silly.
do. So it is silly. But now that I've played the game, I understand why. And I'm going to knock it as, geez, I wish I could just explore. But you guys, planets are ridiculously huge, and the area you get is really large. So now that I see, I'm like, oh,
super, super scary.
yeah, yeah, super scary. Yeah, no spoilers, but it makes perfect sense. And there are plenty of already developed areas that if you just go to story and faction locations and all that and don't do a whole lot of separate exploring, you're going to have more to explore than you've ever had in a BGS game. It's a little bit disconnected because of the way it works, but the game is huge. It is massive. There are things you're not going to see for a long, long time. I've barely scratched the surface so far. Last thing I'll also mention, speaking of ships, like you can't try to fly another planet. Don't do it. We all do. We feel goofy after 2-3 minutes and nothing is happening. Basically, each planet you go to, you got a bubble you can fly in around the planet, and that's it. You have to fast travel to the next one using the star map. But the last thing along the same lines, starship combat. When you destroy a ship, you have to click on the ships, and there is a tutorial pop-up for this, but you have to click on the ship remnants in order to loot them. Which, okay, yeah, there's a pop-up says you can loot cargo. That makes sense. But with everything else in game, when you hover over a container, you get a pop-up context menu to loot. You don't get press A, at least on Xbox, you don't get press A or a context menu. You have to just look at it and click, and eventually it'll pop up for you.
Yep, I accidentally found that out.
Yeah, you have to be super close, which is hard because the thing's flying around.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. What's
It's not
interesting,
sitting in a static position.
right? If you do bump into debris, it just hurts your shields, which will recharge. So that's no big deal, at least. Lee has a little fact check in chat mentioning planets are a long way from each other in real life, too. Think about being in different places, the orbit from that planet you want to go to. Yeah, huge difference. It would be ridiculous to fly planet to planet, but I thought they might do it to scale. Didn't really know. We all try. I thought maybe you could fly inside of a system. It would be like a shortened thing, and then you would fast travel between systems. But those are my couple of main tips so far, just for people starting out. It's a great game. like I said at the very beginning of my little spiel, I do think that with all the hype and buildup, some people after the first 5, 6, 10 hours might feel a little disappointed. Like, wait, it's just a Bethesda game, a great one, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I liken it to when I first played Skyrim. And I wasn't sure what I was doing, finishing Helgen, walking to Riverwood, doing Bleak Falls Barrel to Whiterun. So long ago now, it's hard to remember. But I wasn't sure I liked Skyrim. I was not sure I liked Skyrim because it was just, I don't get it. And
A couple times to get into Skyrim too. Yeah.
yeah, it has that same curve. So just be aware of that. And I'm not going to say temper your expectations because I think it's reasonable to expect a lot, but the game will give it to you on its own time, and just give it your time. And I think it'll reward you. Also, this is something I would never say with any other Bethesda game. Do the main quest more. Kind of like in Fallout 4, it's great to get up to at least where you rescue Nick before you really start doing much else. And we've really learned over time. Same with this game. I won't give any spoilers or where to, but do the main quest for a while. You get more XP, you get more loot, you unlock abilities by doing the main quest. So it's good to do a bit of it before you branch off too much. Because I know how we all are. We're going to collect plants and do an alchemist playthrough, Michael. And you can do that, but do some main quest first.
Yeah. And just be very patient about, because we're so used to exactly what lootable containers are in Fallout and Skyrim. We know exactly what they look like. And so we can go right to them. We recognize the ammo case. And well, there is a lot more clutter in this game, and a lot of it isn't lootable. And so it very deftly hides a lot of stuff that is.
Yeah.
So take your time, be patient, don't rush.
It's so different. It's the same, but it's so different. Andrew, when you loot lockers, you don't just click on a locker and get everything inside. No, you open the door and then you reach into the locker and you grab your styrofoam cup.
Having that visual indicator is good.
Okay, y'all. Well, that is our Starfield chat for now. Don't worry, there's plenty more, or maybe do worry, there's plenty more to come. But this is not the Starfield feed. This is the Fallout feed, and we have some feedback for your ears. So let's launch into this week. We have feedback from Steve, Clint, and Cilior. So let's jump in. We're going to start with Clint. Hi, Clint.
G'day all. Here's episode 9. This won't be a real long one. So having met all of the various heads of gangs, it was time to go free up some space for the gangs. And that meant clearing out all of the theme parks. Peterson's first stop was the Giddy Kingdom, where she came across a ghoul magician, Oswald the Outrageous, who had special powers and lots of ghoul followers. Lots of them. But she had a couple of advantages. The first being her little entourage of the Doc and Curie and Macready, and also Gage was roped in for this part.
Hope this isn't a waste of my time.
Second is her handy jetpack. So while the crew cleaned up most of the ghouls on the ground, she was able to leap from rooftop to rooftop. She managed to dodge the cars and get into the tunnels where she switched off the sprayers. Then it was back out, only to find or to have Oswald switch them back on again. So it was to the fun house to go through the various mazes and spinning puzzles. Took some time, but it was fun. Lastly was the theatre, where she finally met up with Oswald. Peterson's high charisma was a big help here, and Oswald decided to go look for his long-lost Rachel. Peterson then went up and left a flag on the roof for the disciples. That's her assigned faction. Next was the Nuka-Cola bottling plant. This one wasn't too difficult. Once inside, Peterson travelled up the river, taking out the Nuka lurks as she went, while the crew cleaned up all of the hatchlings that popped out behind her, called Nuka spawn or something. At the end, an assaultron came out from inside and Peterson took it out, and then the remaining assaultrons all came out one by one. Most obliging. I think she only had to go in to get the very last one. She was standing inside just shouting insults. Then it was out onto the roof to pick off all of the outside Nuka lurks, with a few kings and the queen causing a bit of a problem. I always have trouble with those sonic attacks. Knock you around a lot. That done, the plant was assigned to the operators, the idea leaving the next theme park to the pack, which seems fitting to me. Next, it was off to Safari Adventure, where she found a Tarzan-like guy fighting a gator claw.
Uh-oh, this can't be good.
This was Cedo, who talked funny.
Sito see you kill monster. You friend?
Are you okay? Why are you talking like that?
Sito sorry, Sito not talk good. Sito family not talk. Sito not talk to man or lady in long time.
Considering he was raised from a baby by apes, it makes one wonder where he learned his style of speaking. But anyway, Peterson managed to get the gist that a wrinkly man had set up a gator claw cloning machine that needed to be switched off. Also, here we find out that holotapes are apparently shiny. So Peterson and the crew made their way into the facility and put a stop to the machine. Eventually, lots of gator claws to kill along the way, but they weren't too tough. Once the final flag was set for the pack to move into Safari Adventure Park, that was all for now. 2 more parks to go and make a decision which factions to assign where. So stay tuned until next time, as long as you haven't played too much of that other game in the meantime. Cheers.
No such thing as too much of that other game. But yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, Clint. One thing about Cedo, I believe he was a child when his mother died and he had to go on his own and then found the park. But he was old enough that he could survive getting there, carrying that note from his mother. So he was probably at least 8 or 9, I would assume. So that's why he had some English. Maybe he was younger than that, then 5 or 6, and just hasn't had to speak much English since then to the apes, which is why it's not so good. But I think that's why he learned some.
Yeah, the one thing that did give me a little bit of trouble were those Mirelurk Kings. Because I had one that I didn't sneak up on. It was sitting right in front of me when I climbed up a ladder. And so he blasted me. And that was the closest I came to dying at the bottle plant.
Next up for feedback, we got some feedback from Steve. Excited to hear what Zenith has been up to. Kia ora, Steve.
Kia ora, everybody. Steve here with my feedback for Zenith. It's Starfield Eve here as I type this out, but that's not important right now. What's important is the robbery. So I was a guest on the show, my last update, and after that, I took out Zenith to conquer Nuka World. Sorry if this is a little bit out of order from the assigned quests, but I just jumped in. I had my reasons here. I headed over to Nuka Zone or Galactic Zone, and I promptly got zapped by a Mr. Frothy, which the wiki says at the end of each of its arms is a red fan, which was used in conjunction with pressurized tanks in Mr. Frothy's torso to spray guests with Nuka-Cola before the war. So they sprayed their guests with soda all over as people are walking through. Wouldn't that get gross and sticky? Fallout World is so funny. Anyway, that Mr. Frothy killed me, but I hadn't saved too far back. So I started saving up Nuka-Colas, everyone I saw pretty much, because I was working towards the all sugared up, defeat 40 Nuka World creatures while under the effect of any Nuka mix flavor, except only the crafted ones count. And also I was working towards Beverageer, which is create 20 different flavors of Nuka-Cola. So that's 2 of the 9 achievements I needed for the 100% achievement run. I headed over to Galactic Zone first because robots don't count towards the all sugared up. It has to be creatures. And so I wanted to get the Nuka-Colas and be able to craft Nuka-Colas before going to some of the other zones. So once I cleared the area, Galactic Zone, I had a base I could work from and make those Nuka-Colas. I also made a point to checklist Star Cores and the magazines I needed for both achievements, Librarian and the Grand Tour. So I'm running and gunning my way through. Nuka World is fun. It has some really good challenges, even if you know what's coming. So I crafted those Nuka-Colas, and then I ran up to Dry Rock Gulch. This is what I mean by doing the quests out of order. And I made sure I was drinking a crafted Nuka Cola. I think it's probably like Nuka Cola Twin or something like that. And because that's one of the first five that they give you the recipes for, you just kind of have some by default, and then you have to collect the other 15. So I headed up to, like I said, Dry Rock Gulch, and I went through there collecting outfits I'll never do anything with. And I was trying to, like I said, make sure I drank a Nuka Cola mix, and I ended up with a ton of bloodworm meat. I then ran over to Kitty Kingdom, and being a build that I run around with 50% or more rads, I didn't like having to manage my rads because it was just giving me too much. I'd take them off and then I wouldn't have any, and then I'd have to try and get some to put them on, but not all the way. So what I did was I headed back to the Commonwealth, and I got my robes of Adam's Devoted so that I could run through there without worrying about rads at all. But before I went back to the Commonwealth, I made sure I had the Radiant quests for all three faction leaders, the one that they hand out, so that I could work towards the achievement Raiding for a Living. That's where Mason, Mags, or Nisha send you to kill or enslave someone or help out some raiders. It's kind of dirty work. And for the achievement, you have to do 12 of those quests. So you can only carry 3 at a time, and the quest givers are in Nuka World, and pretty much all the quests are out in the Commonwealth, so you have to go back and forth at least 4 times to get this one done. I knew I was going to lose the disciples as an option because I was cutting them out of all the different zones. In the end, I ended up giving Galactic Zone to the operators as well as Kitty Kingdom and the plant. And then to the pack, I gave Dry Rock Gulch and Safari Adventure. We'll get back to a couple of those zones though. And anyway, I sojourned back to the Commonwealth and got the robes, and I did those Radiant quests. Then knocked out Kitty Kingdom. I used the robes, which was great because I didn't have to worry about rads at all. And but after that, I did take them off, put my armor back on, and then headed up to Safari Adventure, which is somewhere up in Safari Adventure when I was drinking Nuka Cola and shooting the gator claws is when all sugared up dinged, which brings us now to, what's that? Seven more achievements that I have to complete. So, all right, thanks everybody, and I will see you in the wasteland.
That's some commitment there.
Seriously, serious commitment. Going for an achievement run and doing all this in survival. Like, why not combine like the 2 hardest aspects of the game together? So he's doing the run kind of in reverse from the rest of us. Because this week the last couple weeks, we've been doing the other 3. He started with the Galactic Zone first. That sounds difficult, but I can see what he's saying, that it's a good base to kind of set up shop and get started on the Nuka Colas and all that. Right. So doing all the achievements, it makes sense. You have to do all kinds of things while under the effect of various Nuka Colas. And so I can see getting there first to get all that activated.
Yeah. And learning all the recipes and all that.
Mm-hmm. That is a big one. Mr. Frothy.
Those things are brutal. But I'm not sure what the purpose of spraying people with the Nuka Cola was, but I mean, maybe it's a fine enough mist that it just gave you the fragrance of Nuka Cola.
You'd still be sticky.
And not, making everybody, because at a theme park, you're always hot and sweaty, usually sunburned. So add sticky to that mix. Oh, nasty.
Really nasty. Yeah. He talked about going back to get the robes, like obviously going back and forth a lot to the Commonwealth to do some of these things. But the robes, do you know what set of robes he was talking about? Wasn't the High Confessor's robes? Was it like robes of Adam's Devoted? I don't remember.
Yeah, the robes of Adam's Devoted. That was a really good idea.
Smart.
What is their effect? Does it negate all radiation?
That's what he said, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't remember it being that strong, so I'm not sure if we have the right one, but it could be. I can get another trip back and forth to the Commonwealth, but I mean, maybe more effective than getting power armor and then fusion course. It sounds like a very challenging run, Steve. And of course, Steve's getting a little bit ahead and doing it in his own way because of the fact that, well, we've got other games and other things coming up and we got to get a jump on it. So thank you, Steve. And now, last feedback for the evening, we are checking in with Eric. Going to get into detail on how he went through the 3 zones this week.
Hello, fellow Wastelanders. Eric, aka Sulio here, and this is going to be a bit of a long one. Go figure. But there are a couple of things I wanted to talk about before I get to the playthrough for the first 3 parks in Nuka World. So, first off, when my cat wants to say hi, I wanted to address the quick save mod that I talked about in the last couple of feedback. Apparently, both my pets wanted to say hi. So, yeah, the quick save mod that I'm using is called Survival Quick Save No Sleep. So I don't know if that is the same one that Jess has been using. That is the one I thought I was using, but when I go, like, it adds this item to your aid that you just click on and it does an auto save. So of course I've got it on a hotkey. So yeah, it kind of saves scum, but apparently all that stacks up. Just something I need to keep an eye on. So not a huge deal. Call it cheating, whatever. I don't give a shit. But yeah, maybe that's just a different mod than what everybody else is using. So the other thing is that I'm just going to power through this DLC. So with Starfield being available for me on the 31st, I'm going to be playing a hell of a lot of that. I mean, I do have a Starfield podcast that I need material for. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to power through this DLC and just break up my feedback into 2 or 3 segments like I did with Far Harbor. So now on to the first 3 parks. So I don't know exactly what happened, but my fusion cells were all gone after the gauntlet before starting up the Kitty Kingdom part. I don't know what happened. So I had to make a trip to the marketplace, and yeah, so after that went to Kitty Kingdom. It really wasn't bad. I definitely running around the whole time in power armor. I'm not a fan of power armor, like I've said, but I figured with this it was definitely useful. Kitty Kingdom really wasn't that bad, although standing right next to those poles that have the mist coming out of it, the rad mist, that sucked. Got hit and run over by the coaster once, got blown up by a trap in the spinning room in the funhouse. The funhouse was probably the most difficult part for me. But yeah, I mean, I took Oswald out in a couple of hits before he disappeared. Should have been dead, but whatever. Went and I convinced him to stand down and that the feralness with the ghouls has no cure, unfortunately. My katana was doing great against the ghouls. The ghouls really weren't a problem at all. So yeah, Oswald is gone now, and the radiation in Kitty Kingdom is gone. So on to the bottling plant. The bottling plant was the worst part for me. I remembered it being the worst part for me with my previous character, but on with her katana. Speaking of which, I gotta say, with the disciples being my assigned faction for Nuka World, they love their blades. You hear them talk about, yeah, sure, we've got guns, but we love our blades. I'm pretty fond of my blade too. So yeah, I definitely know how to use my blade. And I'm going to use that as motivation for on being with the disciples. That's how I'm going to justify it. I love my blades and I know how to use them. So, unfortunately, with the Nuka Works, it took a few hits to, even with my katana, those Nuka Works suck ass. I mean, you can use VATS with melee weapons, but you still have to get up and close and personal with them. So, and when they swarm you, that is the absolute worst. I mean, yeah, there's the spawn, the hatchlings that swarm you, and those could definitely take out your power armor pieces in a few hits. But yeah, I died a few times. Even the Mirelurk Kings I was one-shotting with my katanas with the normal Nuka Work. I don't know what it was, but I did make it through, and I was able to kill the Mirelurk Queen pretty quickly. I died once or twice, not from the queen, but from the other Nuka Works outside. Even the Assaultrons I was one-shotting with my katana. But yeah, those normal Nuka, I mean, maybe it's the shell. I think it's the shell. I mean, because the Nuka Works would be distracted by dog meat. I'd run up behind him, and yeah, maybe that's what it was. But still, regardless, they suck. But yeah, I made it outside. I took some medics and some psycho, and I took out the Myra. I just charged her. I bum rushed her and took her out in like 2 or 3 hits. It really wasn't bad. I remember the last time I was just plinking her from the roof with the harpoon gun. I did not. I sold the harpoon gun this time. I didn't keep it. So yeah, I like it. It's powerful, but it's really super slow. And that, yeah, I'm just not about that this playthrough. With my katana, though, I can use it in power armor. The problem is I can only power attack with it. So it's still going to be slow, but it's powerful enough to where I can kill things pretty quickly with it. So yeah, I forgot to mention I'm assigning disciples to all of these, of course, because they're my assigned factions. So yeah, I got through, and one thing about pretty much this whole time, but especially with the bottling plant, is that dog meat kept getting in the way. So I was constantly having to stim pack him. Not to mention he keeps falling off of things. So he he fell off the bottle at the top of the bottle powering plant where the flagpole is, and all the way to the ground. Yeah, so I was constantly taking him out myself. He would fall off of things constantly. Once I got done with the bottling plant, I realized I only had 2 purified waters left. So I didn't know where a clean water source was in Nuka World. So I had to make a trip back to the Commonwealth. And so I went and I left my power armor there, which was stupid. So I had to go to the Pridwin to get my Vim power armor because I apparently didn't have one in Sanctuary. And dog meat fell off the damn Pridwin again. This seems to be a theme with him. Is he's constantly falling off shit. He falls off the something else later. I'll get to that. But yeah, I grabbed power armor, went to the Red Rocket to grab dog meat and fill my empty bottles with purified water, and back to Nuka World. So I killed the first Gator Claw attacking Cedo pretty quickly. Yeah, onto the Savari zone. And also I needed to supply some stim packs because I think I was out of stim packs at that point too, because I used so many just to heal dog meat. Yeah, this is, I think the story behind the Safari Zone is probably my favorite out of all of it. I mean, yeah, it's a Tarzan story essentially. But yeah, the Gator Claw, I killed the Gator Claw attacking Cedo in 2 hits. So that was a good sign. A lot easier than the stupid Nuka Works. And he said there seems to be an endless supply of them. That's a good sign. So he introduces me to his family of ghoul gorillas. And I imagine that's the only reason that the gorillas are still alive at this point, is because of ghouls. I passed a speech check that got him to tell me how he would come to be raised by them. Also, there is a note in the area where he sleeps. It was a letter from his mom. So apparently his full name is Marcusito, because his father's name is Marcus. So of course, Marcusito, little Marcus. So he's named after his dad, which I thought was sweet. And apparently his father had been killed in some super mutant raid. And his mom had been fatally wounded. So she left him there. And the ghouls, or not, yeah, the ghoul gorillas just took care of him. And apparently he speaks their language. So he mentions this weapon, but from this wrinkly man that can stop the monsters. And there's this shiny thing that you use. So he gives you find this shiny thing, which is apparently a holotape from Dr. McDermott. And he obviously is a ghoul at this point, and he says that it was a mistake to create the Gator Claws, and he's got a replicator that needs shut down. It's cloning the Gator Claws, and then so he wants you to shut that down and kill the remaining Gator Claws that are in the park. So, okay, fairly straightforward. I talked to Cedo again, and he tells you about this triangle house that you need to go to, because that's apparently where Dr. McDermott was. The problem is that you need a passcode to get into his lab. Oh, by the way, this is where I posted a video in the Discord of this particularly moist gator claw. When I ran up and
What?
one-shotted it, and he exploded in a bloody mess. That's not the first time this happens. The one in the cave with the Yao Guai, I exploded both of them in one shot. I don't know what's going on, but maybe it's the bloody mess perk that's assisting me a little bit, but these gator claws are no problem whatsoever for me. So back at his home, I was able to convince Cito to bring along this gorilla named Chris to help us out. I honestly don't think Chris helped at all, or really Cito, but then again, I was killing them so quickly, so maybe they didn't have a chance to. So he also tells you that you need to go to this big snake, this giant snake, which is the giant anaconda ride. That's where his trailer is. So that's where the password is. Along the way, I got lost in the hedge maze. Screw that hedge maze, man. That sucked. This is where the treehouse is, though. There's a treehouse, and that's where you get the park medallion. It's a grill. It's a restaurant. Dog meat also fell off that and landed on the hedge. So once again, I had to save dog meat's ass. Once you get to the trailer, there's 3 gator claws there, but again, no problem for me. You have to go. I thought that I misremembered this. I thought that the anaconda ride was in the safari zone. This is not the case. You have to go out and around the area to get there. So get the passcode. I had to take a use a perk point to get my lockpick up to expert for that, because I didn't feel like looking around for a key or a passcode. Yeah, the password was in there, along with, I think it was his body was there. Go back to the welcome center, which I think is what the triangle building was. Go down there, shut down the machine, and had to kill 5 gator claws, including an albino one. But again, no big deal for me. And then after the 5 gator claws, it said I still had 2 left to kill. Thankfully, it gave you map markers for them. That's one thing I was kind of concerned about, was whether or not there were going to be map markers for the remaining gator claws, and I didn't want to have to go around blind trying to find the damn things. But no, it gives you a map marker. So after I killed those 2, it said to deal with Cito and his family, and I was able to convince him to share the park area. And he gives you a unique weapon, melee weapon. And it was like some unique baseball bat called his shiny slugger. Nice of him, but I don't think that it tops my katana. So assigned it to the disciples and back to Nuka Town to sell things, cook some food, repair, and go deal with some bloodworms and robots. So that is where I'm at now. I'm level 55, so I've already gained 4 levels doing this. And like I said, I'm going to keep going with this and just break up my feedback in the meantime. So until then, I will continue to see you all in Nuka World.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. Yeah, so sounds like you had a time of it with some of that. I'm glad to hear how you felt about the story in Safari Adventure, because some people say it's not their favorite, but I always thought the story there was good. I think if I had to pick a story from the parks, I think Oswald and Kitty Kingdom might be my favorite. Do you guys have one that you like most, or?
That's my favorite, definitely.
Yeah, I think Oswald is the closest thing to a good character in Fallout 4.
Yeah, you can see that certainly in Nuka World, right?
Oh, for sure. Although I'm typing up a letter right now, boarding Silur to the CSPCA for his blatant disregard for the safety of dog meat.
Absolutely. Put that guy in a harness, keep him on a leash nearby. Like, it's not up to him to keep himself from falling. It's up to you.
Well, that's why I take Nick with me, because Nick, his job is to just watch dog meat. And
responsible pet owners, that is what they would do. Mm-hmm. I mean, Andrew has an entire menagerie to watch dog meat with him. So you mentioned following up on all the little map markers for the gator claws. That is a bit of a cleanup. And it's funny because Safari Zone doesn't make you explore the zone as much as some of the other ones. So that is a good chance to actually explore the rest of the Safari Adventure Zone there. But I think that's very convenient because, speaking of map markers and talking about Starfield earlier, IGN is already adding to their wiki guide some maps. So Lee shared these a little bit earlier. In their wiki guide, they have done some map breakdowns of New Atlantis and Cydonia so far, and a full vendor list. So it looks like they'll be adding interactive maps to make it much easier to navigate. And Ray, in fact, I should give you this link so you can figure out where that store is.
Yeah, well, I already found it. I got my sniper rifle. That was what was in my picture on Discord. It's a silenced rifle, but it'll be nice to have at least the ability to find your way around town.
Yeah.
Would be in the game.
But I always play with a separate computer sitting next to me, so I'll have it at my fingertips.
That's perfect. Be able to pull that up on a tablet or another PC or something would be really useful. Also, especially moist gator claws. I'm like, ew. But but then in chat it was explained that it was just very, and as you got into in your feedback, it was just very explosive. And yes, they are very bloody inside. It's true. Well, coming up after that, and thank you all very much for your feedback. Appreciate it. You guys, we just have 2 more feedback episodes ahead, I think. Don't have the schedule up, but we're going to be finishing Nuka World, the parks, next week. We're doing Galactic Zone and Dry Rock Gulch. That'll be us playing through that next week, and feedback in 2 weeks. And then in 4 weeks, feedback on actually going in and power play or open season and invading the Commonwealth. So really looking forward to that, since that's going to be the first time. And fantastically snarky comment from Andrew. Great place for those maps to be would be in the game. Yes, please, Bethesda, take a hint. We would really love some actual in-game maps.
But there's already 134 Starfield mods.
Can you believe that on PC? Now, a lot of them, I believe, are reshades and stuff like that, just to kind of affect the graphics. But I was looking earlier.
Yeah. The top mods are the ones that, so because Bethesda partnered with AMD, it doesn't have direct DLSS or the super shaders from Intel.
Right.
And so there's a couple of mods. The top mods are all DLSS mods.
I knew that people were going to try to get DLSS in. I didn't realize there were a bunch of people actually trying to implement that.
I think there was at least 2 separate mods, and they were both at the top of the download list.
So we don't have those on Xbox. Don't try to cheat the system.
Or just play on PC.
Or just play on PC to begin with, because who needs those achievements anyway? I do.
Achievements.
Hey, do you know if you play a game in preview before it's actually released and you pop achievements, they don't pop?
Really? Dang.
Yeah, I have to go back and do a few. just one of those fun little things. That's how it works. It makes perfect sense that before the game is active that you can't get certain things, but that was neat to learn. So I see we have a game listed here. The Junk is Right, in memory of Bob Barker. Who brought that game?
I brought that game. I did, if you didn't hear, on the 26th, we lost to Bob Barker, and he was the host of The Price is Right. So I brought a game that resembles something you might watch on the TV. Do we want to play it? It's pretty quick.
Let's give it a go. Andrew's going to try to jump in. Hopefully we can hear him well enough to all play along.
Okay, sounds good. So how this game works is that we all know in survival mode, a fusion core weighs 4 pounds, right?
Yes, right. We all know that, don't we, Ray?
Yes, we know that.
Yes, we know that because we sometimes have too many of them, and then we wonder why we have no carry weight. So how this is going to work is I have chosen some random items from the game. A lot of them are junk items. Excuse me while I pick my cat off of my desk. A lot of them are junk items. Some of them are more random, like mob drops, things like that. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 of them. And if you can't remember the list, I can repeat them for you as many times as you'd like. But I just want you to tell me whether you think if we had a fusion core on a scale and these items on a scale, are they going to be over the weight of a fusion core or under?
Oh my gosh. So on balance, are they going to be heavier or less than 4 pounds or a fusion core?
Yes.
Perfect.
So I have a couple different scenarios. So I'm just going to read the list and I just want you guys to guess. So are we ready?
Let's play.
Are you going to go person by person or do we chime in? Maybe we do person to person. That'll give Andrew a chance since we won't hear him if he says his name otherwise.
Okay. All right. So the first one, I did just 3 items. So we have an Abraxo cleaner, a biometric scanner, and a rolled Boston Bugle. Are we over or under 4 pounds?
It's a grouping of items.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I can
Oh.
repeat them as many times as you'd like because I know it's a little hard to remember them all.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay, so biometric scanner, rolled Boston Bugle, and what was the first one?
A Braxo cleaner.
Ooh. Okay, maybe we should chime in. I'll chime in. I'll go first on this one. I believe that is still under. I believe rolled Boston Bugle probably about a pound. The other two, half a pound or so. So under.
I'm going over.
And Andrew says less than. Andrew says under 2.
Okay, so we are at 4.1 pounds.
Woohoo!
Good job, Ray. I'm keeping track of points. I'll write down points to everybody. And Andrew, if he can't speak, he's just going to type.
And what sent you over there was the biometric scanner is actually 3 pounds.
Holy, I would have
I
guessed
knew they were
1.5
heavy.
at most. Okay.
Yeah, those are over encumbered machines.
Okay, so the next one, I switched it up and I switched us to 4 items just to make it a little harder. So this one is a coffee cup, a cracked death claw egg, a flip lighter, and handcuffs.
I'm saying under.
Handcuffs are pretty cheap. Lighters are cheap. Coffee cups are only about half a pound. Death claw eggs are, I'm going to say under 2. How about you, Andrew?
He's saying 3.9 pounds.
He's going exact on this one.
So we are all going under.
Okay. That one is under, and that is only 1.6 pounds.
Woohoo, well played.
Okay, number 3. So this one is a life preserver, military grade duct tape, a plastic bowl, and a rum bottle.
Military duct tape, plastic bowl, rum bottle. And what was the first one?
A life preserver.
Ooh, God, what's a life preserver?
I don't ever pick those up, so that's
I'm
why
gonna
I
go
included
with
them.
I'm gonna go with over. I'm guessing life preserver is like hard plastic, so I'm gonna go with over.
I'll say under.
What did Andrew say? Let me see.
I think he says over. Okay,
Okay.
so Andrew and I over, and Ray is under.
The answer was 4.6 pounds, so we are over.
Close. Awesome. That puts us at 2, 2, and 2. And Andrew says, woo.
Okay. The next one is scissors, a military ammo bag, a light bulb, and a human jaw.
I'm thinking under. I'm going to go under again.
Yeah, under for sure.
Really? Okay.
Andrew says it's a clean 2.2 pounds. So that would also be under a fusion core.
Okay. Well, Andrew, you were right that it's under, but it was 3.8 pounds.
Closer than we thought. So what was the heaviest there? Was it the human jaw?
No, a military ammo bag is 3 pounds by itself. And then
No,
Wow, I never thought that was.
It's because it's got that ballistic fiber. I think they just upped the weight so that.
Yeah, I just thought ballistic fiber, right, to make it a little bit heavier. Now, are these weights from 4? These are from 4, right? Not 76?
Yeah,
or both?
everything's from 4.
Okay.
The human jaw was actually, that was my trick one that I put in there. That's only 0.1 pounds. I thought that would be more.
Glass Joe. Yeah, that's a weak jaw. Okay.
Okay, this one is a hallucinogen gas canister, a fuse, a fancy hairbrush, and a clipboard. What do
Okay,
you think?
so the canister is definitely the heavy one. Oh, man. Andrew's coming at 5.5 on this one. Andrew says over.
Yeah, over.
I'm going to say under just to be different. Hallucinogen could be a lot, though, but maybe it's only like 2 pounds. So under.
You were very right to be different because we are only at 3.8 pounds. So we are under.
Dang! Nice work, Jess.
Excelente.
The gas canister is only 3 pounds, and the other ones were under 0.5.
Andrew interjects from chat. He says, interjection. That is BS from the BOS. He does not believe it.
Okay. So we have a deflated kickball. We have dog tags, an empty milk bottle, and an industrial oil canister.
Wow. So kickballs, I think, are pretty heavy. If you've ever been playing dodgeball and you got hit with a kickball in the face or chest, they hurt. I'm going with over.
What were the items again?
We have a deflated kickball, dog tags, an empty milk bottle, and an industrial oil canister.
I'm going over.
That's 2 overs. And Andrew is thinking hard on this one. I think he's calculating the exact score. No, under, he says. So 2 overs, 1 under.
I knew Andrew would be the one to specifically think about what each thing weighs and give me specific answers. But the answer for this one is 4.6 pounds. We are over.
Woo! Over. Oh man,
And-
more BS. More BS.
It wasn't actually the kickball that did it for you because the kickball is only 0.5. The
a milk
oil
bottle?
canister is 3 by itself.
Yeah. And the milk, all bottles are a pound, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually,
And-
okay. Oil canister, I wasn't picturing the right one. I was picturing the little squeaky, the silver
Oh,
oil thing,
the
not the
little
big
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the big can. Yeah. Because it always cracks me up that every bottle weighs a pound. And when you fill them with water,
They weigh
they
half a
weigh a
pound?
pound.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, do Nuka Cola bottles weigh a pound too?
Yeah. All bottles.
I should pay more attention to that. Well, keep in mind, I'm not using bottles in my survival run like y'all. So straight from the
Okay.
source.
Just a few left now. We have Jangles the Moon Monkey, a silver locket. We have a bar of soap and a swan boat fragment.
Ooh,
So
I'm going over on that.
it sounds like it. Jankles is a couple pounds by himself, but not that many. But what if it's a large swan boat fragment? You know what I mean? I think I'll go over.
Yeah. They're all big.
Okay, Andrew said over. Mm-hmm.
We are actually under. We are at 2.6 pounds for everything.
Okay.
Wow. Jangles is a thick boy, though. Isn't he a couple pounds? Like, do you have the breakdown?
He is 2 pounds. What
Okay.
actually did it for you is if you're careful, you'll know that the swan boat fragment is one of those items that counts as junk, but it can sit in your inventory because it weighs nothing.
Oh, I'm not careful. Nope, I didn't remember that.
The only reason I know this is because, well, A, the wiki told me, but also the other day I was looking in my inventory and found a swan boat fragment from 30 levels ago. And it weighs nothing, so it just sits in there.
I love those items. I often go through and I check out my notes and holotapes, and I'm like, what weighs something, what doesn't? And if it weighs something, it goes into the filing cabinet. Well, oh, duh. It floats. Of course it doesn't weigh anything.
True. Very true.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the Titanic doesn't weigh anything, right? It floats.
Obviously.
Well, it floated and then it didn't float. I'm sorry, that was bad.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. We have a pre-war lamp, a rad scorpion stinger, sealed wonder glue, and a tin can.
I can't think anymore.
I think it's under. Yeah. We have cats participating in this, by the way. We've got Silent Andrew. We have a couple of cats jumping in on this, trying to vote. It's amazingly distracting. I love it. I'm going with under.
I don't even know what the items are. I'm going under.
How about you, Andrew?
He said 3.8 pounds under. Oh,
Okay, so we're all under. Were we right, or was it a catastrophe?
you were right, and it was under. It was only 3.7 pounds. So he was very close at 3.8.
Yeah. Your
Fantastic.
cat distraction trick didn't work.
Yeah, sorry. I this is a great game too for the fact that you all are so sleep deprived.
You can
I'm
really see it
loving
in our
this.
faces right now. Oh my goodness. Instead of are you smarter than a fifth grader, like, are you heavier than a fusion core? Perfect.
Okay, we have 3 left. So we have umbrella, vegetable starch, a toy car, and a surgical scalpel.
I'm going under.
I don't know how heavy an umbrella is. It might be one of those 3-pounders, but even if it is, the other things don't sound too heavy. I'll go over just to be different. Andrew says under. So Ray and Andrew are under. I'm over.
And Ray and Andrew are correct. It was only 3.2 pounds.
Beautiful job, y'all. Ray and I are now tied, and Andrew is 1 behind. The score is 6-5-6. So a very close game, but our score is heavier than a fusion core.
Okay, we have a teddy bear, a test tube, a giddy up buttercup back leg, and an enhanced targeting card.
Those are heavy.
Yeah, I think the rear leg is the kicker. I'm going to go with over.
I am going over too.
Andrew also said way over. Well, you are way wrong because it is under at 2.7 pounds.
What?
A teddy bear is a pound. A
Right.
test tube is half a pound. A Giddy Up Buttercup back leg is only 1 pound. And an enhanced targeting card is 0.2 pounds.
See,
I thought those were heavy.
I believe it from everything except for that buttercup back leg. I mean, those boys are thick. And I really thought that would be heavy metal, like at least 2 or 3 pounds.
When I look at the junk list has like 6 different items that are from Giddy Up Buttercup, and the head and the body are both 3 pounds, but the legs are just 1 pound.
Well, we often grab them all at once, so that makes sense. I don't know the full breakdown. Okay, so none of us got that one. Andrew says it's lies, by the way, in case you didn't notice. He is very, very concerned and wants to recount.
Okay, well, I pulled these right off the wiki, so he can recount on the wiki. Okay, this is the tiebreaker or the last one. So we have cutting fluid, a bloatfly gland, an alarm clock, and an assaultron circuit board.
Could you put those in the form of a sentence?
No.
I mean, read them again.
We have cutting fluid, bloatfly gland, alarm clock, and assaultron circuit board.
I'm going to say under. Watch that clock be wicked heavy, but I think under. Andrew says under as well. Ray?
I'll go under.
Okay, so we're all wrong. Are we all wrong?
You are all wrong. It was over.
Oh!
How heavy is that alarm clock? Or is it the assaultron circuit board?
Cutting fluid is a pound.
Okay, yep.
Bloatfly gland is half a pound.
Yep.
And alarm clock is a pound, and the circuit board is 2 pounds by itself.
So look at that. So the targeting one was 0.2, but this one is 2.
Well, you have to think the targeting cards are the ones that are in the turrets all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I pick those up all the time, even though they have like nothing of value.
So Andrew says that Bob Barker would have kicked us off the stage by now.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's winning any cars or anything from this game, but
cars heavier than a fusion core. At least I know that much.
But that was the junk is right. Who won that?
Very nice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well played, all. Well played. Ray and I ended up tying because since I last read the points, we haven't gotten any points. Yeah, Ray and I and Andrew basically all tied. What a fantastic game. Thank you so much, Katherine. That was wonderful.
Of course.
And what a nice tribute to Price is Right. Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to roll into Iguana Bits news, but guess what? It is very quick this week. Starfield came out, y'all, in early access. It's been out for 2 days. That's the only news that matters. But also, Meat Week is out. There are cute pigs. There's meat. There are primed cuts. XP. Graham has plans. We're going to talk about all of it. And that's it. That's all I care about. Nothing else. Anybody else have any important bits for Iguana Bits? Because I just ain't hungry. Okay. Well, in that case, we will move on to the shouts. We got some big shout outs. So first of all, shout out to my boy Barrett. Fantastic character in our new game from Bethesda, Starfield. I don't know if you heard of it. Shout out to Barrett. He gave me a ship. I appreciate you, Barrett. Big shout out to friends and the community. With the launch of Starfield, there's a lot of effort from a lot of quarters doing reviews and content. A lot of my friends, Scully, Ken, Shreds, a number of people did reviews for the game who haven't previously, not reviewers and journalists. We're content creators. And it was great to get the opportunity to do that. So big shout out to them and everybody in the Fallout community who's kind of been supporting them, watching their videos and stuff. That's awesome. And shout out to Bethesda. I appreciate you for also giving me early access. Wonderful.
Ken is one of the 134 mods for Starfield. He's got his video overlay.
Oh, really? That's in there as a mod?
There. Yep.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah. Anyone who doesn't know, if you are streaming Starfield or doing Starfield videos, Ken from Chad Foster's podcast made a number of community assets for people. Overlays for your camera, for your stream, pop-up alerts, fun stuff like that. So if you are looking to stream or make videos or whatever, and you're looking for some assets to share, we're gonna be busy in a little bit as we get closer to Fallout for Hope, but feel free to ask for access and he'll give that access people because it's community assets. Really nice.
Or you can pick them up in Nexus.
Or-
The other
right.
thing you can get in the Nexus is, so Eleonora worked on a bunch of clutter and decorations and stuff. So she's got all of her Photoshop pieces, all the framework for everything available as a mod too for download.
That's fantastic. I need to go to the Nexus to see what's up there because I checked when it very first released and I only saw like 20 some mods on there. Less than a day or just over a day, and we're getting that many already. By the way, for those who didn't hear, Eleonora actually confessed on Twitter 2 days ago that she was a dev on Starfield, a contract dev. So in the 21-22, when it was originally aiming for the November 11th launch date last year, she had come in the year before, and over the course of that year was a contractor as a lighting specialist, and she did some clutter, junk, and lighting. So she is in the credits. I'm not sure what the exact title is. I think it's additional lighting or additional lighting specialist. Emmy, that's her. That's our girl Eleonora. So shout out to Eleonora. That is awesome. You're getting in the game to do that. And of course, all the devs who worked on Starfield, just what an accomplishment. We'll be talking about it more as time goes on, and other people get to play because it's not even out yet officially. I had a little shout out for Andrew in there, just shout out for Andrew and his new job. I don't know if you mentioned that last week or not. And shout out to Katherine the Great. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's Catherine's birthday, everybody. So yeah, she was kind enough to come and join us for her birthday. It was actually yesterday, I believe. Close enough. Same thing. All good. Thanks so much. Anybody else have anything
It's not tomorrow until we sleep anyway. So
Yes.
I'm turning over new leaf tonight. We get out the show and I'm going to bed within an hour.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I have this great idea that like if we all get like a good night's sleep, we wake up bright and early before noon. Bright and early before noon and jump into Starfield again. I mean, how great does that sound?
Awesome.
Yeah. Big breakfast, like lights coming in the windows and
I just
Starfield on the
barely
TV.
made that cut today.
That's brilliant. I only did because of work. I have to get up for work, but oh man, I did not want to. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for tuning into this edition of the Fallout feed. Really appreciate it. You can follow Katherine. And Katherine, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter as well as Xbox at Pendarosa831. I'm also trying to be fairly active in the Discord, but if you at me, I'll definitely see it. So that's where you can find me.
Beautiful. At Penderosa in the Discord to get her attention, or if you see her in 76, be sure to wave and say hi because she's been there a good bit lately again. And Ray, where can people find you?
You can find me on one of the ASA podcasting podcasts being released at any given time.
Absolutely. There's a lot of them. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ray.
And I am in the Discord, and I have no idea what my name is.
I think it has Ray in it. Does it have Ray in it? Yes.
And maybe LB after it. Maybe. Right? Ray
Probably
LB?
not in Discord. That's my Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Discord has just the butcher.
Yes, because he's French. LB is for Le Butcher. It is not.
It isn't. And it's German.
I know.
You know, one of those languages from the people over there.
Ray Le Butcher, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Good times.
And you can find Andrew out in the boondocks somewhere, calling in from his phone, probably playing Starfield if he brought his Xbox with him. If not, just having a grand old time. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. You can follow him at Indie Android. You can follow me at Sleep is for Tea on Twitter or Blue Sky. You can follow the show at the Fallout feed on Twitter, or Facebook group is getting revitalized. That's been going a lot of stuff there lately. Discord always happening and all that. And yeah, you know what? We'll see y'all in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout feed, a Skyrimatic Podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
And we're out.
Yay, beautiful, good times. Oh, sorry I got so messy at the end there. I wasn't really ready to end, but I'm like, we kind of have to. Like, if I can't giggling anymore, it's going to be just ridiculous.
I know. Yeah, we couldn't giggle anymore. We had to stop.